Is Wild Hearts worth the money? Let's talk about it. Now, I'm 20 hours into the game right now in early access through EA Play Pro. So I've been playing the game for the last 2 days. This is the third and final day of early access, and is the game worth the $70 box price? As somebody that's played Dauntless since open beta, I've played Monster Hunter Worlds, I've dabbled in Monster Hunter Rise, and I've played other various Monster Hunter games over the years. So the genre is a genre I've played and loved most of my gaming life. So needless to say, I was excited to see a new competitor coming to the Monster Hunter genre, and not another small competitor like Dauntless coming from a unknown studio at the time, but coming from a well-known studio and a major publisher, being EA as the publisher. Now, my main fear going into this game was that the game was going to lack content or lack depth. My other concern, having played the game now, was that it was going to be lacking on future content, because I can tell you right now that Wild Hearts has so many layers to unwrap. The first taste of these layers that you get in the game is with the weapon crafting system, because how the weapon crafting works is you take the weapon, you upgrade the weapon, and then you keep upgrading the weapon down the tree. And every time you upgrade it, you can inherit some of the skills from the previous version of the weapon to the next version of the weapon. Say you go down a path and you've used all these materials to go down this path to get this one perk over to this other weapon, and you decide you didn't like it. Well, you can reset the whole thing. You pay a little gold and you reset the whole tree. And you start all over. You get all your materials back and you start all over. So you can really customize exactly what perks you want on a weapon in the long term. And I really, really liked that. The armor crafting early on in the game made me think it was going to be pretty generic. You know, here's the armor set for this monster and that monster, kind of like Dauntless, not giving you a lot of flexibility necessarily in what each set of armor does, but kind of having to cherry pick from set to put something good together. Once you get to the first major city in the game, you find out that all of your sets of armor have, for the most part, two variations: the human path and the kimono path. Do you want to be more monster-like, or do you want to be more human-like? And there's perks that are locked behind how far your character is swaying to being human, or how far your character is swaying to being a kimono. Depending on the armor you're wearing, you can sway your character one way or the other. So just the equipment tree alone gives you so much depth and flexibility on your builds. And that really surprised me, because I thought for the most part this was going to be some sort of cookie cutter, bare bones Monster Hunter clone. And I honestly feel like they decided to put some real thought and effort into this game and really layer on the possibilities. One of the other fears I had going into this game was the Kurakiri, the whole Fortnite building mechanic thing. I thought I was going to hate that. Is it essential to playing the game? No. Is it going to make your experience a lot easier? Yes. Is it clunky? No. Do you hate using it? Absolutely not. The more you use it, the more you want to use it. And this is what really took me by surprise with this particular mechanic. I thought I was going to absolutely despise the use of Kurakuri during the fights. The more I used the Kurakuri with different weapons, the more ways I found to make it a fun, interactive mechanic to the game, and really appreciated it being there. They did a really good job of not making it overly in your face or overly forced down your throat, but gave you enough push to get you to try it before you decided you hated it outright. There's going to be one complaint I think a lot of people are going to have, is when you start the game, you only have access to 5 weapons. And this, I thought, was because they were locked originally behind the early access versus the full game, and that's not the case. 3 of the weapons, the Kurakuri staff, the cannon, and the chain claw, are locked behind being in Act 2 or Chapter 2 of the game. At first, I was really upset about this when we found this out, that they were locked behind that chapter, because my wife, for example, she wants to play the Kurakuri staff. It was a really good decision on their part to lock these weapons behind Chapter 2. These are very advanced weapons and very advanced play styles in the game. The cannon is a lot trickier to play than the other weapons because of the way the reload mechanic works on the cannon. It's very interesting. It's very unique. And it's not a rip of the gun type weapons from, say, Monster Hunter. The Kurakuri staff is a transforming weapon and is really, really tricky to play. I still have not got a good grasp on that weapon, and I do not personally like its playstyle. But the chain claw, on the other hand, is a full-on aerial assault weapon, And that is a playstyle that would not be suited for the early game. Trying to explain how to do good damage with this weapon early on would be a whole couple hour tutorial probably on its own. Both of these weapons, the cannon and the chain claw, are actually really fun to play around with when you have a general understanding of how the other 5 weapons work. There's enough knowledge from using the other 5 weapons to figure out these weapons on your own. And I really actually had a lot of fun figuring out how to play the chain claw without reading any tutorials or stuff on it and figuring it out for my own. So from what I've been reading online is the game most likely has a 50-hour playthrough time. You could probably beat the whole game in 50 hours, which made me go down another rabbit hole. And is probably why some of you are watching this video right now. What about endgame? Is there something after you beat that 50 hours of the story? And I'll be perfectly honest, if you can beat the story in 50 hours, you are really just pushing straight through that content and just mashing through every cutscene in the game. But they already have an end game planned, and they already have more content planned coming out soon and in the next couple months, including adding more kimono to the game within a couple months of the game releasing. So far, I am thoroughly impressed with the content release schedule that they have planned out so far, and if they can keep this up, I definitely think the game is worth it. Now, is it worth the $70 box price? That is for you to decide, because there's 2 ways to play this game. You can either subscribe to the EA Pro and play the game all you want for a monthly subscription fee of about $15 a month. Or you can sign up for a year of EA Pro for $100 a year and play the game all you want for that year, including all the other games on the EA Pro subscription. Or you can buy this game for $70. So for $30 more than the box price, you're getting this game for a year and all of the other games in the EA Pro library. This includes some of the Star Wars games, which are personally the ones I'm looking at playing with my subscription. And I'm hoping that they include any expansion content for this game in that EA Pro subscription. So that's some food for thought and something to chew on. But what I would encourage everybody that has given this game a thought, thinking, man, I really want to try this game, but I don't know if it's worth the money. Get 1 month of EA Pro and play this game for a month. You will either walk away wanting to buy the game, or at the very least renew your subscription to play this game for a second month. This has been a really fun ride for me so far within the first 20 hours, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what all the end game in Wild Hearts has to offer. If you guys still are not sure whether or not you should or should not buy the game, stop by one of my live streams. I will answer any of your guys' questions or leave them in the comment section down below. I will be live streaming Wild Hearts and Dauntless on this channel if you guys want to see any more content related to either one of the games. And I will see you guys in the next video.